Bottoms up, bottoms up. Shout out to Frankie Borelli. He's not here with me right now, but I said we're doing an old school Barstool Radio. It would not be complete without Frankie Borelli making a statement from behind the glass with his music. So he said, bottoms up. I said, bottoms up. And he just wrote back, it's Mr. Steal Your Girl. So, we got a lot to get into. The Mets still have not lost a series this season. They're 20-10 and in first place. First team to 20 games. We'll be taking your calls about the Mets in the next couple of minutes. All right, let's do it. This is a big episode. This is what Barstool is all about, and this is what we haven't had one of these in, or at least I should say I haven't had one. And I don't think there's been one like this that kind of gets the whole company going in a long time. There's the Grudgman days, there's the Business Insider days, and now you can add the Deke Zucker burner list to the list. So I got to give a little bit of background for some people who are new. I am way more interested in the burner side of things here. So I'll obviously talk about what's going on, the office romances, but that's not where I find the appeal to be here. But let me just say this. Everybody in this chat, everybody calling in, everybody listening, we're all dirtballs. And I don't ever want to hear it next time. You're like, who cares about the Kardashians? Who cares about celebrity gossip? Who cares about reality, this and that? All of you do. All of you scumbags just like it when it's Barstool's gossip. You don't care when it's some, chick celebrity. You just like your Barstool drama. We're all scumbag gossip queens at heart. Just fucking admit it. So what we're doing right now, there's a StreamYard link out to call into the show. You can go to KFC Barstool, KC Radio on Twitter, and you can click the link. We can't use the phones like we usually do because the control room and the studio are already taken. But you can call in through just like an internet link. You don't have to put your face on it or anything. So we'll take calls in a minute. But here's what's going on. Over the weekend, the public learned that two people at Barstool Sports are romantically involved in seeing each other. That is Marty Mush and Rhea from Chicks in the Office. This is a big deal, particularly because Rhea used to date Hank, and Hank is one of the Barstool OG guys, producer of Pardon My Take, recently promoted to, what's he called now?
Head of content development, I believe.
Head of content development. So congratulations to Hank. But obviously there's some salacious, gossipy detail there with office romances. Now Dave found out. He was out in Vegas, I'm assuming, after the Canelo fight, and if there's one thing I've learned about Dave in my time here at Barstool, this is one thing he takes extremely seriously. Like guy code and friends, like not messing with any friends. You don't date another guy's girl. You don't cheat. You don't do this even. In this situation, it was they've been broken up. Everybody is like free to do what they want to do, but still in Dave's mind, this crosses a line that nobody should cross. So Dave was very fired up, was very publicly tweeting about it. So I'll talk more about that, but let me explain the other half of it. So that's going on. There's this office romance, and there are people upset, and a lot of people on Twitter are voicing their support for Hank. One of those people is Deke Zucker. Now, if you're an OG fan, you know who Deke Zucker is. If you're not, let me catch you up to speed. So Deke is this cat, I believe from Minnesota, right? Although we don't, nobody really knows who Deke is. Do we know or do we not know?
I've heard rumors.
That's Nicky Hammer behind
so there. Many times, people have told me, oh, it's this person. Then it was a team of people. And throughout the years, I don't know if it's ever changed, but he's always come back to one person again.
Well, so in the beginning, it was one person. When he kind of became when we had a whole Barstool Radio lineup. So Deke Zucker used to tweet all of our quotes. He would listen to our podcast, and then he would put all of our biggest quotes in writing. And it was actually great, to be honest. Out of all the promotion we've ever done at Barstool Sports, Deke Zucker was the one. So when we had a full radio lineup, I think there were other people behind the scenes working with him, but there's still only one true Deke Zucker. And so last night, he tweets out, if hashtag Team Hank gets trending on Twitter, I will consider posting a list of Barstool employees who have burner accounts on Reddit. And then followed that up with a second tweet on his thread saying that he has screenshots from Reddit accounts that have posted and voted on Reddit dating back like 5 years ago. And he said if I did post it, KFC and about 5 or 6 other people would come to the office tomorrow with a baseball bat in their hands. So obvious. You like that one?
It's so good.
Flair for the dramatic from Deke Zucker.
I saw it. I was like, fuck yeah, Deke's back. He's quoting the show right now.
Is he? My man, we're back in action. Let's get the band back together. So obviously that sets Twitter on fire. My timeline blows up. Unfortunately, that's not a surprise to me. And I would probably be surprised by about like 10% of that list that Deke posted. Well, if he were to post it. So that's where we're at right now that he hasn't posted it. I was talking to him behind the scenes. It sounds like me, Smitty, a couple other people took like the brunt of it. He has some screenshots of people who were talking shit about Dave or upvoting posts that were talking shit about Dave. So to me, that's the way more interesting part. I know people get like roped into the office romance side of things. And let me just say this, no matter where you fall, Team Hank, Team Rhea, Team, Marty, all that bullshit. This all started because somebody sniped a picture of them in public and posted it to the Chicks in the Office Reddit. That's fucking grimy behavior, man. I mean, there's a list of grimy behavior here. Who's behaving the worst? And somewhere near the very bottom of that list is some random person who sees a guy and a girl out on the street and you snap a picture of them and post it on the internet. And now, I know you probably think you're doing something. You think you're helping Hank or defending Hank, and like I guarantee you, he doesn't like this either. So dragging everybody through the mud so you get your shits and giggles on the internet. I can tell you personally, as the king of that, going through that, it fucking sucks. So the people who like doing that, you're the ultimate dirtballs. But obviously a lot of people think that Marty violated some sort of guy code. At the end of the day, though, this is like a big company, and there are multiple people who all hang out with each other. There are makeups and breakups and hookups and relationships and secret relationships and public relationships, and if these walls could talk, man. So I guess the thing is, these walls might start talking. Deke, where you at? So we can take your calls, like I said, if you go to our people like in waiting. Okay, so we can start with the calls. I will periodically chime in with my thoughts as well. Like I said, I have a feel for who I think has my back. You know what? Before we even start this, I have a feel for who has my back and who doesn't, and I think I'm a pretty good judge of that. But when he told me, because I DM'd with him privately, and he was like, he said something to Smitty like, the only person who got it worse than you was KFC. And I'm sure, I hope a lot of that would be dating back 5 years ago when I went through the whole public scandal of my divorce, because everybody and their mother had opinions about that, ended up in fucking Daily Mail and the New York Post and all this shit that I never expected. I'm sure people had their opinions about that. And if they talk shit about that, like, I think you're a scumbag because, it's none of your business. And I know publicly facing, I look like the bad guy and I did some things that I shouldn't have done, but there's just so much to it. And people running their mouths that, could have said something to my face, that's always a dirtball move. But if it's beyond that, like if it's just like regular old shit talk and like trashing me behind my back, if there are any surprises on that list, those people will absolutely be like fully fucking dead to me. Because even when I was talking with Fights and my team here, it's like I've been nothing but nice to everybody here. I help everybody on the come up. I would say more than anybody, I'm the most hands-on with like the young people. I help them with their content, with their business, with their personal lives, like with everything. So I would imagine I know who's talking shit and who's not. But if there's some surprises on that list and it's not just gossip about my marriage, it's like about me as a person or me as a coworker, It will not go well. So what am I doing here? How do I click admit?
You just have to admit them in, and then you could pick whoever you want on there.
Okay, this person has a last name that I recognize.
It won't show their name.
Okay.
If they want to say it.
Okay. Steven, what's up? Steven, you there? Steve, can you hear me? Sorry, just give us a second while we're working out the kinks here. Do I have to click?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, there you are. All right, what's up, Steve? Is your last name a coincidence, or is there a?
Yeah, no, it's absolutely a coincidence.
Okay, so this guy has the same last name as a person at the center of this thing. So I was like, holy shit, are we getting family calls right away? But okay. So
no, I always wondered if I was family with Hank, but I don't think so. I'm up in Alaska. I don't think he's ever been up here.
All right, I would imagine not. So all right, what do you got, Steve?
I don't know, dude. I'm a dirtbag.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to be as unbiased as possible here. 8 years ago, banged one of my best friend's ex-wives, but he lived out of state. But
here's the thing though. Some people would say that there should be no but there. Like you can say she lived out of state. Marty can say they broke up. But some people, and it looks like Dave is one of them, believes that hard stop right there. But continue.
No, totally. And this one was he was in the military. It was a quick thing. And but I think their relationship was long enough. It was public enough where I do think it's a dirtbag move. And I don't know. Do you think that he thinks he's on his way out just because people don't like him and he says fuck it?
I think it's hard to thrive here when you are at odds with El Presidente. In this way, when you're at odds with him, I'm at odds with him because we disagreed about fucking everything from the Jets and the Patriots down to just takes on opinions and shit. But when it's a personal thing, I don't think he's gonna want to be on camera with him. And it's tough because Marty is in the gambling world. If you don't work with Dave, it's whatever. The thing about Barstool is everyone, as interconnected as they are, everyone's kind of siloed off as well. So, KSC Radio kind of operates as its own thing. Pardon My Take operates as its own thing. Chicks in the Office, Foreplay. So, you can kind of coexist while not working with each other. If you're in gambling and you're sitting next to each other on streams and you're flying on private jets together and all of that, it's hard. And Dave, as we know, is kind of like a grudge guy where you get one strike and you're out. So,
plus Hank was one of the OGs too, and I feel honestly Dave gets some shit.
He was an OG, and he was Dave's OG. He was
right
before there was Frankie, before there was Austin, all those guys. It was Hank building this thing with him before he went on to Pardon My Take and now onto this suit Hank role. But there's a direct connection.
Yeah, and I don't think, Dave gets some shit, but I don't think anyone can question his loyalty. I think that's one of his biggest things. Like you said, one of his biggest things is this kind of stuff.
Yep.
I think loyalty is number one for Dave.
Absolutely.
But one of the biggest things I think people have an issue with is didn't she, or I'm probably too deep into this for someone who works in the oil field in Alaska. I spend 12 hours a day on this, dude.
This is what I mean, bro. Everybody who ever is who cares about that person? Who cares about this person? It's you might not care about that exact person, but there's somebody in this world that you have a irrational level of caring about their personal lives. But that's what we're here for. That's why we do it. So
I work 12 hours a day up in Prudhoe Bay, Alaska.
Yeah, you need it, bro.
And I listen to Barstool Drama. It's fucking unbelievable.
I hear you.
But anyways, didn't Rita say that she broke up with Hank because she wanted to be single? I think that's what people may have an issue with.
Well, but this is where you get deep in the weeds, and it's you don't know what was going on there.
True.
You don't know why. There's a million things that could have gone on with those two, with her personally, with her and Marty, and I will stick up for because I am the king of going through this. People have been talking about me for 5 years now with specifics about me and my life that are so preposterously made up, and I just kind of sit there and eat it because I know, once a rumor starts, there's no stopping it. But people who,
yeah, I don't know, dude. People need to let that go. People fuck up. It's all good.
So that's the thing, though. You know what I mean? It's if you believe in that, and so let me pose it this way: if Hank and Rhea broke up, a little while ago now. People hang out, people see each other out of work, and all of a sudden there's like a romantic spark. Is it on them to just be like, no, we cannot explore this. We cannot let our feelings like matter here because of what happened in the past. I'm sure Rhea is probably like, I broke up with this guy. I now want to be with who I want to be with. I can't let my past boyfriends dictate my future like romance. Marty is, kind of, I think everyone's friendly. I wouldn't say that Marty and Hank are like, it's not like me and Feidelberg or something like that. It's not like they're like connected. So he might be like, this isn't great, but sometimes you can't choose who you fall for. So I don't know. There's a lot of different viewpoints. Should people like knowingly be like, doesn't matter what I'm feeling, I am putting a stop to this, or are you, you don't choose who you fall for,
No, I don't think anyone should put a stop to it. I would do the same if I was Marty, but I'm going to admit it's a scumbag.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is that you have to admit on some level that there's a little bit, just own it. You're crossing a line one way or the other. Maybe it's not the full line, but, you're at least crossing something. Nick, how do I drop him but without ending the whole thing?
You don't have to answer this, but if you're inside the company, don't you have to disclose this kind of stuff to HR? Was it really a secret?
I'll talk on that. Thank you for the call, Steve. I'm gonna move on from
no
you.
Problem. Thanks, man.
I don't know the rules to that because we were a fake company for so long, and now now we do have HR, and I do believe in like the regular world. I don't know if you have to. I know that you should. I think if you want it to be recognized and official, and that way you're kind of like protected, if you will, under like workers' rights or some shit. You can tell I don't know what I'm talking about here, so I can't speak on it too much. I don't know if you have to disclose it. I think that if you want to be in a like legitimate relationship that's taken seriously, you should disclose it. But, at a place like Barstool, that's not easy because fucking look around. You think that if those two just disclosed it to HR, Dave would be like, well, they went through the proper channels, so I'm not going to say anything. Probably not. Let's get back to the calls. Kevin, what's up, Kev? Or it takes a second to join, so it says joining. Are you there, Kev? I'm not connecting to audio. Can't hear you. There we go. What's up, Kev?
You want to be in a like legitimate relationship.
Hang on. Start over because you weren't on the air yet.
But at a place like Barstool,
turn down your radio.
Fuck around. You think that if those two just disclosed it to HR, Dave would be like, well, they went through the proper channels, so I'm not going to say anything.
How can I
Probably
mute him?
not.
Oh, he's got to mute the video.
Kevin, what's up, Kevin?
Yeah, dude, mute your video and your audio and all that shit.
Yeah, that was just you.
Okay, you good, Kev?
What's up, guys? Can you hear me?
Yeah, there we go. For all future callers, if you're on wait, whatever. Once you hear me, you got to mute your video and your audio so there's no feedback. What's up, Kev?
What's up? So I actually go by the name of White Boy Rick on this old Bird app.
Okay.
I've been in contact with the chick who leaked the picture via DMs. You just called her top of the grime list, so I just wanted to say a few words defending her.
Okay.
Don't
drop government names. By the way, no names. Okay.
What's that?
No names.
Got it. Yeah, no names. So she's just like a casual Chicks in the Office fan. Just kind of posted that to that own niche subreddit. Like you said, this is reality TV for us shitheads. And she really just did not have any idea the hellstorm this was going to light off. So I don't know. She seems like a nice chick.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. I'm not saying she's like a bad person, but I think everyone's responsible for like their actions. And like you said, you're all reality TV shitheads right here. So like, you can say that you're just fans of it, and you can say that we've gotten to a big enough place where we're open season, it's fair game. But when you snipe pictures of people and post it on the internet, and then there's like big time fallout from it for everybody involved, not just those two, for Hank, for all the Barstool employees, everything that comes out after this, you shouldn't fucking done that. Like, I mean, at this point, you got to know that like this is how the internet works, right? You think people are just going to see that and be like, oh, cute, there's a new couple. I mean, you can plead ignorance, but I think like then hopefully this is a huge reality check for her, and she kind of realizes how much your actions can affect other people on the internet. Not that, you really owe anything to anybody, but you can just, decide whether you want to be the type of person who fucks with somebody's life from, behind the keyboard or not. So maybe, I guess it's good to hear that she didn't she didn't do this on purpose. She didn't want all this, but that's what happens,
Well, listen, I think the primary concern here is I got a 3-year-old son asking me how he's supposed to believe in loyalty anymore.
Yeah, the
He's
kids
looking at me
are
with
gonna.
tears in his eyes as I'm saying this. He's looking at me with tears in his eyes. KFC.
It's all about the children, the youth. What are we gonna do?
Yes, that youthful innocence is gone. If we can't believe in loyalty at Barstool, where do we believe in it anyway?
Where can we find it, man? Just Just tell him Ruth Conda forever, and he will be fine.
Absolutely. And then the last thing I wanted to say, I just think Deke is listen, I'm a huge Deke fan. The guy's day one. I think he's kind of been phased out by Stooley's clubhouse and by the series deal ending. I think he's kind of playing up this whole burner thing.
There's a chance that he is overexcited, but I think he's got the goods. I don't think this is totally made up. I think that there might be a chance that, there's a name on the list that he thinks is a big deal that you guys would be like, who fucking cares? Because when you're a diehard Barstool fan, you think that everybody within these walls is a big deal when the average casual fan wants it to be a real name, a superstar name. So there might be some disconnect there, but I think there is a list of people because listen, like I said, there are names that I would not be surprised by. Nick, can you one more time show me how to kick people out and then get the people in? There are names that I would not be surprised by, and I feel like let's see. Remove.
I don't know. There's been a lot of tweets. It feels like a nothing burger. But hey, appreciate you letting me call in, KFC.
You got it.
Appreciate the content.
That's White Boy
Have
Rick.
fun at the office today.
You got it, man. I do think you would be surprised by some of the names. I mean, we've heard stories in early Barstool days of people who had burner comment their names in the early going, where everyone was just commenting on the blog before social media blew up. And I think that there are more people. This is a grimy game, and it's what started out as kind of like a few guys just blogging and shooting the shit and talking about other people became, this fucking media empire. And when there's money and fame and status and image and all that shit on the line, a lot of people will go to a lot of lengths to get it or to keep it or to stop someone else from getting it. And what's funny is I tweeted this last night. Last night there was half the company was going to sleep, resting their head on the pillow, peaceful as can be, cool, calm, and collected, I know I'm good. And the other half of the company was like, fuck. I am guaranteeing you, Deke Zucker probably got some offers monetarily to, keep my name off a list, black my name out, cut my name out, don't release the list. I'm sure Deke Zucker could have made a pretty penny last night. So those people are probably scrambling or trying to play it cool. But there are the people, like Trent tweeted a gif of a little teddy bear snuggling into his blanket last night. Imagine who would be. I think Clem and Trent would have to be the biggest surprise.
I think Trent definitely. I think he's just one of the kindest people we have here.
Imagine if Clem was just
posting,
fuck these guys, fuck them all. I want to fuck their wives and girlfriends, and I hope they all die and lose their jobs. Clem out.
Yeah, that would be shocking.
Let's go to Justin. He's up next. If you want to call in on StreamYard like these guys are, go to Twitter at KFC Barstool. Click the link that I tweeted out on StreamYard, and you can hang out in the waiting room until I get everybody in here. Justin, what's up, bro? Justin? Oh, this is annoying. Okay, let's go to Eric. We're going to get him in next. Got to be ready if you want to chop it up here. Eric, are you there? Eric, somebody's there. I can hear somebody. Yeah. Steve, Eric, who's that? Come on, guys. Yo, what's up? What's your name?
Yo, what's up? It's Eric.
What's up, Eric? What do you got?
I'm a little confused about the whole Deke because I do like data work, so I'm like a data scientist, and I'm a little confused about how he's getting all this information.
I believe he said that he knows someone who works at Reddit.
He knows someone who works at Reddit. Oh,
That's what
okay.
I thought you right? Yeah.
Worked back end at Barstool.
No, I think there were some people who were confused about that too, because people tweeted me, texted me, being like, he works at the back end of Barstool. Why would he have Reddit names? I think he meant they work at the back end of Reddit and can see.
Still, but like he would have to know their personal like emails and stuff. I don't know. It kind of seems like a stretch from someone who works in the industry, but
yeah. Well,
like,
I mean, you would know better than I would.
Disbelieve him.
You would know better than I would. I would just say that in my travels on the internet, I've seen a lot of burner situations. And people are very sloppy. You would be surprised. Like, register a username to like their Gmail with their name in it. Yeah, shit. Like they either do that or
definitely dumbasses like that.
Or you know,
I
like
would believe that.
I think sometimes people they like one person gets found out and then there's like IP addresses that are similar and people can start to connect the dots and all that kind of shit. So what I've learned is that there are two types of people in this world. There are people who have burners, and there are people who do not. And what I've also learned is that if you do have a burner, always, 100% without fail, eventually you get caught. Whether you forget to log into your other account, or you leave something open on your devices, or you link it to the wrong email, or whatever, somebody always finds out. And it might be a day, month, week, year, whatever. Eventually you get caught. So I do think that's why I did DM Deke. I was like, call in. You don't have to give names. Oh, okay. He did. Okay. Let me. He did respond to me. So I
sent him the link.
Okay. So hopefully Deke will call in. Because you're right. We do need a little clarification. But you're saying as a person like in that realm, it's kind of far fetched or hard to do this.
I mean, I just. Did he say specifically what he had? Like, he said he had the burner. Like,
I think he just said he had like a screenshot of like a bunch of names that were that had different usernames.
Yeah, because like you said, it kind of would have to be like a full like investigation almost.
Yeah, but that's another thing that I've learned, bro. These are all things that I have learned through my travels. Is that people go deep, dude. Like you would,
I believe it.
Yeah.
I just don't know. Like, do you think that's Deke like doing that, or is he got someone pulling strings?
I mean, we are talking about a dude who was so invested at Barstool that he basically became part of the hype team for free, for no money. He was listening to us all day, every day, tweeting us out, promoting us. Like a lot of us appreciated what he did. I feel like he, felt like kind of part of the team. And then on top of it, you're invested. You listen to all of us all day, every day. So you take sides and you grow to like people and hate people. So if there was one dude who it would be, it would probably be him. Thank you for the call, Eric. So I do. Oh boy, the lines are banged out.
We just tweeted it out.
Okay,
so
yeah.
It might have popped up.
Okay, we are cooking right now. This person says their username is like R Barstool, like Reddit Barstool subreddit. So I'll throw him in because this is a moderator. Moderator Chris this says the subreddit Barstool. Okay. Chris, are you there? I'm gonna give it a second while he. It seems like it takes like a couple seconds for people to join on. So let me just give a little background. 1 second before you start, Chris. I started the Barstool subreddit. Talk about I'm like the scientist who created the atomic bomb. Like, what have I done? I started it way back when I'm always the guy who tries to bring Barstool to new mediums. I was like the first to do podcasts, and I was all over every social media thing. And Reddit was at one point when the Reddit bubble kind of went from the deep dark 4chan nerds to like the average internet user. I was eager to have Barstool have like a Reddit presence where I thought it would be cool. I know that we had such a rabid fan base that I thought it would be a place where people would bring content would share stories that we could blog about and podcast about and all that. And I never expected it to become the full insular circle jerk Barstool hate fest that it became. I mean, it's sadly nothing. And a lot of people say, like, I don't even look at the Reddit. I truly finally cut it out of my life, like when I went through the divorce. But there were times where I would like try to not look at it, and I inevitably would end up looking. But it was just so negative towards me, and so much of it was so made up or so upsetting or whatever that I finally cut it out. And I know a lot of, like, I would probably say me and Feidelberg might be the only people that I could say with certainty do not look at that page. Almost everybody else does. Everybody else, unfortunately, puts stock into what is said there. They behave a certain way based on what, fucking 500 different guys on Reddit think and say. And it became the most toxic thing at Barstool. And I hate that I ever made it. Had it not been me, I'm sure it would have been somebody else. So it probably would have happened anyway. But the fact that it was me drives me fucking nuts. And when we first set it up, I think I was like the moderator or moderator. But eventually it got big enough where the rules of Reddit are like the owners of the subject of a subreddit can't control the subreddit, because that makes sense. There's a conflict of interest. But then it's like, well, then who fucking gets to run it? These assholes who deep down hate me and everybody else who works here, they get to control that page. So I think that's kind of a flaw of Reddit, where it's like, I understand you're trying to prevent a conflict of interest, but also then you're just handing it to people who have an axe to grind or whatever. So anyway, Chris, you're a moderator or were a moderator or whatever. What's your story?
Yeah, I think I'm the beloved moderator of the sub. Everyone seems to like me the best.
Are you being? Is that sarcasm, or you mean that for real?
I think I'm one of the most active mods, along with one of the other ones. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm fairly well liked by most people. Some people just completely hate me, but that's the nature of just
the game
being on that sub.
Yeah,
they hate everybody.
Yep.
So it's tough. But yeah, I've been on there for like about 2 years now, something like that, as a mod. So I think you've been out of there for like.
Oh, brother! Once I realized what it was, I got out of there as quick as I could. I used to still just kind of. I used to like actually try to have a discourse with people, because I am one of the most hated people on the internet, and I do feel like if you saw what goes on, I think the internet's perception of me is almost like 180 degrees the wrong direction. And I used to try to like prove that or argue that or have a discourse, and then I realized there are people who just hate me and believe whatever they hear about me and whatever, so I stopped. But so I haven't been there in years, but I'm assuming that in the last couple years since you've been there, it's still been nothing but just hate and drama and all that nonsense.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's all that.
Like, what's a constructive thing that's come out of Reddit?
Not much.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
There are things that come on.
There's nothing of use there.
It's a place. It's more a place people that they have similar likes, similar interests, and they end up joining the sub, and they end up talking about everything other than Barstool Sports. I say all the time that it's the place where they hate the biggest fans of Barstool, but they hate Barstool the most, which is
and I have heard that before. And there used to be the comment section was like the original Reddit, and there was always this vibe of like they talked the most shit, but then when things got serious, they would have our back. It was like a family where it was like your biggest fights are with them, but then they have your back. Those guys on Reddit, I don't think are that way. I think those guys are like hateful people who don't like us, and when shit goes down, they like to see people like fall and fail. So that's kind of the difference there.
Yeah, well, it's an anonymous message board. Yeah, of course, there's going to be all these people who say all this shit that it's like, hey, fuck these guys.
Right.
But especially people want to see people fail, unfortunately.
Yep.
But it sucks in that aspect. But there's also a lot of stuff, a lot of people that go on there and they post positive stuff. The stuff that they actually like about Barstool, which is admittedly not much.
I was gonna say I think there's a needle in the haystack, and the rest is all just people hating. And unfortunately, a place like Barstool, it is a place where like an average dude who works hard but maybe catches a lucky break all of a sudden has a job of like a lifetime, and there's a lot of fucking assholes who hate on that. And so you're right, there are a lot of people rooting for for failure. But what is like going on Reddit right now? Like, by the way, is it like against the terms of Reddit to post pictures like that, or that's all allowed? I guess if you're out in public, it's fair game.
Well, it was public. I don't think it was, nothing. I don't think it was in another sub. It was in the Chicks in the Office sub.
Right.
So I don't think.
Right. That's like once you're out in public, you lose like all
you
lose all your rights or whatever, right?
Yeah. I mean, it could have been a picture of anybody. So
right.
I mean,
right.
They probably. I mean, if they really wanted to, they could probably, report it and see if Reddit will take it down. But it's unlikely.
It's also, I mean, horses out of the barn at this point.
Public figures and stuff.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, I mean the subs, it's a lot of activity these days. Yesterday, starting in the afternoon when stuff started coming out.
And what do you just get like you're just like interested in this, so it's not like you get anything out of this, right? Like you're not. It's not. There's no.
No, I'm just I'm a huge loser, as is everybody. Yep. Everybody on Reddit. So. Yep. No, I've been a fan of Barstool for a long time. I was a Cream Team member. I listened to the first days of KFC Radio, and just got on Reddit and I was like, this is pretty fun. And I got kids and I'm like, you know what, I need something to distract myself from real life.
I hear you, brother. I mean, and that is kind of the and thanks for the call, man. We'll get to some more of these guys here. That is unfortunately what's going on here is like. When you become big enough, popular enough, famous enough, rich enough, whatever, you become like other people's entertainment. You become little like pawns in their game where it's like, you wouldn't do it to a friend or you would think twice about posting something like that to people you know. But in this situation, people don't think because they don't care. They just want to like get their rocks off. Let's get back to the calls. This is a guy who I think has been in the mix quite a bit on social media drama recently. If you are a part of Jack Mac's Twitter Spaces every month or so, where about 5,000 people from New York City jump in and gossip about the latest hookup drama or whatever the fuck's going on. This guy Asher, I believe, is usually somewhere at the center of it, right, Asher?
Hey Kev, what's up?
What's going on, man?
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, cool. Yeah, I missed you a little bit there, because I had the stream going.
I think you're usually somewhat at the center of, or at least connected to, a lot of the Jack Mac Twitter space drama, right?
Yeah, I want to, which is yeah, I guess if that's what I'm being known for, sure, I guess.
That's your claim to fame, bro.
I do want to. What's up?
That's your claim to fame. Go ahead, though.
Thank you. No, I do want to stay a little bit away from like the. I had no clue about the burner aspect. I kind of went to bed a little early last night. I saw some of the Rhea Mush stuff. I don't really want to touch any of that personally. Mm-hmm. My question though, and this is, you may not be able to speak to it because who knows what bomb Deke's kind of sitting on right now. Do you think though, are we talking about where people are just going to not like each other? Or do you think there's any like within programs, like is there any shows or anything that's like fractured enough where if something comes out, like I'm gonna say as an example, because they're like, again, you and Fights are rock solid, but if like God forbid Fights had said something, you're like, yeah, we're binning KFC Radio, I'm not working with this guy anymore.
Yeah,
obviously we don't think that's gonna happen.
No, go ahead. No, I don't know. I think that there's probably enough in there that inter shows, like within, like show to show. I think there would be people like I'll just speak for myself. Like when Nate went on the rundown and was talking shit about my divorce and everything, and we had our beef and all that. We've put that to bed, and I'm like cordial around him, but I've said many times publicly and even to him, like, we'll never be the same because of that, because I know, like, in the moment when the chips were down, you took it to a place that you shouldn't have, right? But we're, generally fine, whatever. But like I said at the top of the show, if I saw some people talking about that, I would kind of be like, whatever. I think you're fucking corny, and I think you're lame for like taking the bait and believing some of the rumors and judging the situation without knowing about it. But whatever. You're not the first person in my personal life who has judged me for that, and you won't be the last. But if I find out that there's people talking about me just as like a coworker or as a friend or as like what I do on a day-to-day basis, that would piss me off way more than any of the marriage drama, because that's, like I said, that's where I think, you know, Feidelberg was like, I am fucking floored, because I thought, you know, if we polled The Office, you would be like one of the most liked people. Like in my mind, I think if everybody knew everything about Barstool, a lot of like everything would be reversed. Like the people who got hate would be loved, the people who got loved would be hated, the popularity contest would kind of flip. So that would probably drive me more to like write somebody off. And I don't know about within shows, because a lot of the people who are partners or trios or whatever are like friends and rock solid, and a lot of them also are not, and we're kind of put together just because of work, or have been together for years now. And as we've seen, you know, if you're here in New York, you know that Mike and the Mad Dog eventually have their falling out, and you know that Mike and Mike on ESPN have their falling out, and eventually everybody kind of clashes until there's drama. I almost think at Barstool, everything being public, like me and Dave feuding so much publicly, I think ever stopped anything from really happening like behind the scenes, because it was like we would just scream at each other all day. There was nothing else really to say. But I'm sure there's going to be people, if this were to come out, I'm sure there would be enough that egos would be hurt, feelings would be hurt. Whether or not it's going to be like co-host against co-host, there's no way to tell that. But I would say, like what I said before, when there is, I hate to say it, but there's almost maybe a better chance that it is co-host to co-host, because that's when you see competition. That's when, you know, people are like, oh, I like Feidelberg. I wish KFC would drop dead. Oh, you know, Feidelberg is riding KFC's coattails. Like, and then people catch feelings about that. So in a way, that might be exactly what you're seeing. But, you know, that's why Deke kind of dropping this bomb, but then leaving it is the ultimate fucking, you know, what do we do now, Deke? Where do we go from here? I'm walking the hallways being like, is it you? Is it you? Is it you? Is it
you can't like, you got to open the box, right? You can't like, it's like when someone says, oh, I want to tell you something. Oh, wait, never mind.
Exactly.
Like,
well, now you gotta tell the story. Yeah. What for you as you're a fan of Barstool, I'm assuming, right? Like, a little bit. Do you have in your head a list of people who you think would be burner and non-burner? In my mind, I think it's like very clear, like who could do that and who wouldn't. But the thing about burners and the thing about secret internet activity is sometimes it's always who you least expect. So do you think you would like be surprised by the list?
I would. I mean, yeah, I think the other sort of like secondary pushing off point is like Reddit. And like I occasionally use Reddit for like some of the stuff that I do on Instagram and whatnot. Like, but there's some people who just don't get it, right? And so you kind of are looking at people like who are high internet activity people.
Yeah.
Obviously, like Barstool, everyone's on Twitter, but like that Reddit's like a secondary layer, I guess. Like you got to be a little bit more like Internet 1.0, like 4chan, like forums and stuff to use and just sort of be active on Reddit. So I think you're kind of, you know, I think you're going to be seeing people that sort of fit that mold to start with. I mean, I'd say I'm a fan of Barstool, yes, and you know I've met some of the met a few guys out and whatnot, but like I wouldn't say that there's, I guess anything could surprise anyone at this point. I think you have a pretty good idea of like who everyone is, and so you don't think anything's gonna come. But if you've got someone who says that they, I mean, know someone who works at Reddit who has access to backlogs and like. I mean, I don't know what Reddit's policy is on this. I can't imagine.
I know, like that guy's gonna get fired, right? Like
this is like, you know, I don't like just thinking off the top of mind. It's like Elon being like, I can see all the like the source code of Twitter, and you can see I feel like this is definitely not within that guy's what he's allowed to be doing.
I also think though that's why, you know, maybe Deke has been sitting on it for a while. Like he knows that it is. But yeah, let me keep it moving and get to more of these calls. But thanks for calling in.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Kev.
I do think it would be. I think some people would be surprised. I think you also the thing about it, man. And again to just keep citing my own personal experience because it was the worst and continues to be. The amount of information that gets found out and gets put out there is what's that?
Deke just tweeted, guess what? I just got DM that there's also a list of Barstool employees' Twitter burners out there as well.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say,
It's just a matter of time.
Asher brought up
Yeah.
Reddit. Like, if you got a burner on Reddit, you got a burner on Twitter, on Instagram, on this, on that. That, you know, if this is your type of behavior, you know, you do this. And it ranges from downright, like, conniving and fucking evil, all the way to Franny Lydon. What's funny is Hank was, you know,
Yeah.
the OG of this, where he was like, I don't know, man, it was fun. It was kind of fun to just be like a scumbag commenter for the day. So some people are like that girl, the guy who called up saying like she's just a fan who happened to, you know, drop a bomb and not realize it. Some people don't realize the power of the internet. And some people are these Reddit creatures and people who are on news or chat forums or whatever, they're fucking message boards and all that shit, who are, you know, using the internet as for like evil. But when you like go through some shit, you know, the world is huge and the internet's huge. But also when you go through something like I went through, you got to realize that like everybody in New York and in my town and in my circle is connected. So all of a sudden I go through some shit, and everybody who might have an inside, you know, scoop on it is on the internet. And they post something like, oh, I heard it was this person. And then someone on that forum sees that and is like, oh, wait a minute, I heard it was this person. But if you say that it's that person, it must mean it's this person. And all of a sudden you have these people unknowingly crowdsourcing all this fucking information. And next thing you know, you have identities and emails and names and drama. And it's like, you would be surprised. I think people who are not on the internet will often be like, oh, like what are the chances that's going to happen, right? And I'm telling you, the chances are like 100%. The way that people always say like the truth comes out, the way I said that your burner always comes out, like without fail, somebody knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, 6 degrees of separation style, and they post on the internet, and someone else sees it, and then they post, and they all put the fucking pieces of the puzzle together, and next thing you know, your whole private life is public. And it's crazy how easy it is for that to happen. And I don't think regular people really can understand that without being involved in it. Can somebody DM Deke or be like, are you calling in, bro? What are we doing here? Because he said, what's the call-in link? And I sent it. So, you know, what's the deal, bud? Let's go to Drew. We're letting him in a second. I'm wondering if people are more interested in the office romance gossip or the drama gossip, the burner gossip. Because I think one is contained. It is what it is. There's probably going to be some friendships that are lost. It sounds like some careers are going to be impacted. But the burner to me opens up the doors to like fucking everything. What do you got, Drew? What's up?
I just had a couple quick questions for you, just to get some context in terms of the Rhea Mush stuff. Do you get a sense of what was known in the office, if this was something that was a shock to everyone?
It does sound pretty surprising to people. I think it probably, you know, like if you go out with people, you know, everybody knows how sloppy people can get. So I'm willing to bet there were some people who noticed that they were talking or leaving together or whatever. But like I go to the office, I go home, I'm with my kids, I'm at work. Like I'm not in any of these circles, and there's a lot of people like that, and there's a lot of people who are probably out there in the social mix. So I bet you there are some people that like had an inkling or noticed something here or there or whatever. But the vibe I'm getting is that this was mostly a surprise to people. But that I don't know for sure, because I haven't really gossiped with the rest of the office. I'm here with my KFC radio crew. That's about it. So I'm only speaking for myself.
Yeah, and just a couple more quick ones. What do you think the actual dollar value is of these of this list for those who are on?
That's a great question, man. That's a great question.
Depends on who they were talking shit about.
You know, there are some images and some names that are probably, you know, really, really would not like that to be out there. That if you were to extort, if it were to go the other way, if Deke were to say, give me XYZ, I think it could be a pretty high number. I think people would put up a lot of like their money, like relatively speaking, whether you have millions or you have thousands, if it like impacts your ability to earn in the future, right? You know, you might be putting up every fucking penny you have. to keep your standing at Barstool and keep your name and your show at, whatever level it's at. So I don't know, because it's all, relative. But if you were worth millions, would you put up $1 million to stop, your image from being hurt? If you were worth, 1,000, would you put up 900? I mean, a lot of people get desperate when it's the people who are the burner type are the people who are obsessed with their image, right? So those are probably the people who would go to the ends of the earth. That's why I say there are burners and non-burners. I go to sleep every night with my head on the pillow being like, all my skeletons are out there. All my cards are on the table. You hate me, you hate me. You like me, you like me. I don't have anything else to hide, anything else to show, anything else to prove. Like, it just is what it is. You know what I've done, good and bad. And that's why it's nice, because it's like, if you like me, I know that you really like me, because it's not going to be like, oh, you did what? Oh, what happened in your marriage? Oh, what'd you. So, but other people, when there's this whole, like, hidden life, it could really impact you in a lot of ways. So, I don't know. What would you put it at? What would you pay if you were in this shoes of someone here at Barstool? Would you pay, like, would you be a Kevin Hart who's like, fuck you, you're not getting a dime from me, I'll just go public with it myself? Or would you pay the money to make sure you keep your standing?
I wouldn't be a burner guy, but if I was, I think I'd be the Kevin Hart side of it, which brings up, do you think you'll see anybody kind of jump in front of it and go, you know what, let me lay out, here's what I did, let me get in front of it, I fucked up? Or are they just going to let it ride and hopefully it doesn't come out?
I think that would probably be the smart play, as long as it's not too bad. If it's real bad, you probably just got to hope for the fucking best, hold on, and if it comes out, just get out the transfer papers, transfer to another school, and just say fuck it. But if you were like, hey, I said one day, thanks for the call, Drew, that I hate blah, 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 Feidelberg is the worst, I was just having a bad day, and that was it. I only did it that one time, and I just want to get ahead of it. I think people, almost exclusively, when it comes to steroid cheating, relationship cheating, just shitty behavior, like, the people who own up to it are always the ones who kind of come out ahead and at least, like, have a head start on the process of getting, back in good graces. But again, if you're the burner type, you are probably physically unable of admitting you were wrong, or admitting that you're going to lose some fans, or whatever it may be. When Kevin Hart went out and said, you're not going to extort me, here's the deal, I cheated. That's very different. Like, I had sex with another woman. Doesn't make you look bad, you look like a scumbag, right? But you don't look like a loser, you don't look weak, you don't look like a lying weasel rat. You're just a guy who, you're a superstar who made bad decisions within your marriage and you had sex. This is like, oh, you're a rat, you're a weasel. You're like, this is the kind of shit you don't want on your reputation. And so maybe that's a bad thing, that it's worse than being a cheater, like, within your relationship. But there's, like, kind of a hierarchy of the worst kind of image to have, and being like I talk shit about the boys behind their back and I, like, kick people while they're down type shit is kind of the worst. So it depends on what you said and what you were a part of. Morty is like, what are we calling from Del Boca Vista? So he'll join in a second. But if you're one of those people, I think that you would pay, a lot of money. What's up, Morty? There's, like, kind of a turn down your, like, the broadcast of me. Like, that I talk shit about the boys behind their back and I, like, kick people while they're down. Yeah, there you go. What's up, Morty?
Hey, KFC, long time listener.
Thanks, bro.
Question: who do you think in Barstool probably has, like, the sneakiest burner account? Without outing anyone,
Yeah, it's hard to do that without outing people. It's like, who do you think it is? But don't out anybody. I would say I've been going through my head of who I think is worse, producers or content. And I think I go back and forth on that. On the one hand, being a producer, kind of sitting there behind the scenes, and then like trashing somebody seems shitty to me. But also I know that producers are some of the least respected people when they deserve like all of the credit and all of the love and respect, and they don't get that. I could see a producer being like, you know what, fuck this guy, and I don't want to like lose my job, but I got to get this off my chest, so fuck it, you know? So part of me thinks then you're kind of justified in that. Not justified, because you really should never do it, but maybe a little more justified. I think if you're in content, I think it just shows how desperate you are to be the most popular or at the top, that you're willing to step on somebody else. It also depends on what your burner is, right? If I find your burner, if I had a burner and it was just like, yo, KFC's fucking awesome. Did you hear that new episode? KFC is so funny. Like, KFC's the man, blah, 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 blah. That's fucking super lame, but, you know, whatever. If my burner was like, yo, KFC's the man, and also that guy Feidelberg, he's the fucking worst. If you're stepping on other people and keeping them down, that is the worst. So I think it depends on if, you know, who do you think would be the biggest weasel? Like, if you're on the come up and you're talking shit about people, or if you're already at the top and you're trying to keep people down. If you know, like that I think about all those things. And is it, you know, if you are anonymously doing it from the fucking shadows and you don't even know me, or are you know, you're nice to my face and then you're a troll behind my back. These are all the different types of burner trolls to weigh, you know? So,
right. So is that the like the lure of having a burner is like, oh, can say things like anonymously?
Yeah,
now,
man. Yeah, this is people
things I wouldn't be able to see,
yes,
say, from my regular account.
I would love to get like a psychologist to call in with the psychology behind, you know, anonymous trolling. But I think there is some sort of, you know, it feels good to get shit off your chest, and you know, the same way, in a little bit of a way, aren't we all just a little bit of trolls in a way? Like, I post to my Twitter account to people I don't know. I don't know you guys, but for some reason, I feel like stating my opinion on something and getting my thoughts off and being like, this is what I believe, and having all these people who I don't fucking know, like, know it and see it. I feel good about myself being like, I'm up front. I put that out there. Now, obviously, I put my name on it, and that's the difference. But I think there is something cathartic about just being able to speak and talk about, you know, what your true feelings are without having to, you know, walk on eggshells. Now, when you're just putting people down and talking shit about an internet company and whose video you thought was funny and whose podcast you like and don't like, I can't imagine how much you get out of that. But that's, you know, I would imagine that's what people do, is they want to be able to be like, I'm just finally telling the truth about this. So that's one side of it. The other side of it is I think people are using it to like get ahead. Like, I want less people to listen to KFC radio, and I want more people to listen to my podcast. So I will talk shit about it while propping myself up to use it as a tool. Because as much as you hate to say it, like commenters and Reddit and shit, they don't really affect like who makes it and who doesn't. But you know, there's a vibe. Like when I post a 1 Minute Man video, if the first few comments are people being like, yo, that was funny, the comment section follows. If the first few comments are, you cheated on your wife, then the comment section is all about that. So you can kind of create like swings in the vibe of what that person's public persona is. So if you're just always in there with a million burners being like, KFC cheated, KFC's the worst, then it's not like I'm going to lose my show over it or my downloads are really going to change. But when people see that, you know, there's a reason why people come up to me in the street and the first thing they say is like, yo, man, you get so much hate. I like your stuff, but damn, you get hate a lot. And it's because there's, you know, people who have, if I have 10 haters who all have 10 burners, well, now the first 100 comments are all that. And it persuades people to think a certain way. So that's another reason why I think people do it.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's just straight scumbag moves, obviously. But like, especially like for someone like you have it, like anyone at Barstool that has like thousands and thousands of followers, to just have one burner or to build up a burner account, you know, to have enough followers that people are actually like, looking at and seeing it. It takes work.
Yeah. Well,
right?
that also is like there's two different types of kind of burners. I feel like you can have just like a 50 of them that have 0 followers, but you still can, you know, get your thought out there. Or I feel like people are work within one to create, you know, a person who has a little bit of clout, so what they say actually matters. Let's see. Deke, I guess he's not going to call in, but he did DM me. So here's a couple of your answers. He said this is 70% producers, 30% content. So y'all got some explaining to do, okay? Now that also kind of like I would imagine there's a lot of people at home who are kind of throwing their hands up, being like, well, wait a minute. These are going to be a bunch of producers we don't know. I think this kind of kills a little bit of the spice. But within your circles, you guys are probably like, what the fuck? So, yeah, you producers are out here talking all that shit. He says, this says, everyone starts their burner by defending themselves. They turn against each other to deflect heat. They want to turn heat on others because they believe resources are scarce, and if they make someone else toxic, it will be easier for them to succeed. That makes perfect sense to me. That to me, I don't think when I said there's people being like cheering for yourself, that's just not how people act. People are negative, not positive. So if it's like, hey, why don't you use a burner to prop yourself up and you don't harm anybody at all, you're just creating a little bit of fake heat for yourself, that's still lame, but it's not, evil. But that's not what people do. People log in and hate, and that's how they achieve this. But I think more to what you said is right. If you take the time to build one, that might be the worst of all.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, thanks for having me on.
You got
Short
it, bro.
little plug. Do you think Dave would ever sue somebody for copying the Barstool logo? Because I came up with just a small concept of I know Dave and Dan are Jews, they're born Jewish.
Charger.
I made a logo, Jew stool, with a little kippah and a Star of David at the top. I was just curious, what are the odds that I get a cease and desist or
probably
a
pretty
legal letter from
high.
Barstool?
You never know. I can't comment on that. Dave is part of the tribe, and maybe he would love the fact that you made a Jewish Barstool logo. Who knows? I'm looking through the names here to see if there's anybody. Oh, my man Taylor from back in the CCK days. He will be up next as he logs in. What's up, T? How we doing, man? Still connecting. There he is. What's up, Taylor? It's still going. Man, you guys are banging these lines out. There we go. What's up, T?
Yo, what's going on? You guys having a boring Monday or what?
It is funny. There are some people who I think are avoiding the office today because they're like, I just don't want, this is scary. I think there are some people who walk to the office today probably being like, dead man walking. I walked to the office today like let's go. Gonna get some subscribers. Gonna get some views. Here we go. Or maybe that's something that someone with a burner would say. Maybe this is all an elaborate ruse by me. Maybe I've got all the burners.
It's like when you have a sibling and the one sibling is in trouble with the parents and you're the one just watching from a distance finally, I'm not the one gonna get beaten by my parents.
Bro, that is when Barstool first started expanding, that was the first time. I don't know if I can pinpoint it, but for the first 5-6 years, you were always in the drama because there was only 5 people. And when we finally expanded enough that it was oh, she's actually the focal point today, or his ass is in the jackpot, and I could just sit there and pepper questions on Barstool Radio, I'd be like, but what about this? But what about that? Oh, it was beautiful once I got, when I was finally not the center of the drama. But in this case, it's almost like I'm sort of the center of the drama because I've been told that I was the most talked about and the most shit was talked about me. I feel like Deke, you got to give me these names, bro. You can't do this to me.
I think what Deke's going to be doing, I was just trying to go to bed last night like a responsible adult and go to bed early. And then I just see Team Hank trending on Twitter, which is bonkers, to be honest with you. But besides that, with this whole burner stuff, I think Deke is just pulling strings and waiting for the best opportune time. Look, he has everything. He has all the information. He probably has more information than everyone, I guess expects. But I feel like that's what
I don't know, man. That's the question. Do you think? Because I feel like this is almost like the Yankees with the letter. They made such a big stink about it, and then all of a sudden you find out, him already saying 70% producers. The really diehard Barstool fans are gonna know the producer names. The average fan is gonna be like, "What, Jackie? Jackie had a bunch of burners? What do you mean? But like, you know, if it's, but 30%, I guess it depends on what names are from content. It could be one person, and if the name is big enough, it would be a nuke. Yeah.
Right. That's all you need is one big name. And, you know, having a burner account, it never ends good.
Never.
You know, you're starting a burner account because you are already self-conscious about yourself and what people think of you. And if you're trying to jump into this industry, you need to just kind of, it's easy for sometimes people to say like, oh, just tunnel it out and just not look at it. It's very hard to.
It's so hard
hating on you, but that's like, that is, you need people to hate on you because it kind of just helps your, I guess, content come through. You get like a good basis of who likes your content, who doesn't. You can kind of, figure out what kind of content to put out, maybe change your stuff. But, this is that's just super interesting. And this whole, this weird thing with Marty and Rhea, I think it's kind of a situation as young guys and even women too. You kind of just don't shit where you eat, know, and it's just, you guys all have friends and maybe people you guys don't like that the public doesn't know. I don't know how things will be handled. I don't think, like, I'm seeing people on Twitter talking about, oh, this is a fireable offense. I don't think this is a fireable offense at all.
I don't think you can fire people for their romantic choices.
No, you can't.
People said that about me. They were like, you're lucky you didn't get fired. I'm like, in what world would my marriage and what I do, like, has nothing to do with this?
This is all going to be, the public is going to be turning people's opinions on people, and then the people that are involved in situations like this will have to make a decision on whether or not what their future looks like.
Well, and
no one's getting fired over this.
You're not getting fired, but if the audience no longer fucks with you and your numbers are down and all that shit, then it's the court of public opinion is kind of the judge, jury, and executioner. So,
exactly.
You do have to, like that. I for sure, I wasn't going to get fired, but there was a point in my life where I was like, is this the end for me? And I lost like a huge chunk of fans, and there's a whole bunch of opportunities that the door probably closed, but also there's probably a bunch of people who like I know kind of doubled down on me. So I know that I was still alive.
You know what's huge though? It's huge, Kevin. This is the last thing I'll say because you have a lot of callers, but the fact that like you dealt with a situation that no human wants to deal with, right? It was awful and it was not a comfortable situation for you, but the way you handled it over the first 6 months and even the first year, there's no other way to handle it, and you handled it pretty professional, and you took the heat because the heat was coming, and you kind of just dealt with it, and you kept going, and you had some issues. But with what the situation with Rhea and Marty are going to be dealing with, it's about how they handle it. If they handle it negatively, where they kind of fight the negative comments, or they fight, or they dispute certain things, it's only gonna get worse. If you just tell the truth always works. If everyone starts lying and making up shit and this photo is not real, blah blah blah, whatever it is, you're only gonna dig yourself in a bigger hole. You just come clean and say, yep, I did this isn't good, there's other stuff that we also did, whatever. The story is gonna just end quicker. It's not gonna be and super quick, but you just got to just keep telling the truth.
100%, man.
I guess at the end it'll be all.
That's exactly right, T. I mean, and I appreciate the call. I've always loved your support, man. Oh, go check out Taylor too. You're on the overnights at WFAN now?
Yeah, sometimes I'll get I'll host a 4-hour show once in a blue moon, but yeah.
All right. Be on the lookout if you're in the New York area for Taylor. Give him a follow on social and all that too. Appreciate the call, man. I will also say this, like the people, like, when you're in it, when you're the center of like the tabloids, or in this case like the gossip world of Barstool, the more you rally against it and try to like clear your name, the worse it gets. Like, and you have to understand that the people who are talking shit about you and saying some of the most outlandish shit are already the people who hate you. So there's no stopping them. There is a huge sect of the internet that comments on all of my shit and stirs up drama for me, and they always say that I was in a hotel with another woman while my kids were being born. Like, the actual minute that the birth was being given, I was at a hotel. It is the most far-fetched, preposterous thing I've ever heard. If that was the case, I think the marriage would have been blown up a long fucking time ago, way before that happened, right? But there are people who hear that, and they believe that, and they spread that. And if I rally against it every single time, they're never going to change their mind, and all it does is make me look worse and more petty and more guilty. And it's like, if you are inclined to make up that rumor, believe that rumor, and spread that rumor, you're already a person that hates me. And if you're a person who uses their brain and knows that that's a like insane scenario, you already are a fan of mine, and I don't need to win you back. So whenever you're in this, like, you know, there's the urge to clear your name or to defend yourself, and I think on some level everyone has a right to do that. But I also think that the people who hate you are always going to hate you, and the people who love you are still going to ride with you. Let's get some of the chicks involved. We got Danielle on the line. Shit, we got to hear from some of the girls here, so she's connecting in a second. If you want to call in, you can check my Twitter account. There's the link for the StreamYard to join. You don't have to show your face. You can just talk. What's up, Danielle?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. What's going on?
Perfect. So I just wanted to jump in really quick and defend Rhea for a second. I feel like everyone on Twitter I'm probably going to get myself canceled saying this because I agree that it seems like kind of a shit show, but her and Hank have been broken up for like a long time. So I'm just confused why everyone is like being so mean to her for moving on. Like, I really don't think that's fair to her.
No, I know. I mean, it's obviously it would be better to not date, someone else who everybody knows, but like of course you're prone to fall in love or connect with people who are in your circle, the people you work with, the people you hang out with, the people you see every day. If somebody breaks up and moves on, and then someone else in that circle, there ends up being a spark, what can you do? It's not great. I wish that it was not the case. I'm sure Hank's, feelings were hurt by it. I'm sure he's angry at some people in the situation. But also, technically what you're talking about isn't anything it might be viewed as a little bit like salacious, or maybe like, man, does it have to be with that person? But there's nothing inherently wrong with it. I don't think, at least. I'm sure some people disagree with me, but I think as long as people have broken up and there was, if there was a discussion had and it was handled in a mature way, what can you do, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's weird. Like, I feel really bad for her. It's no one else's business at the end of the day, and it's not like she cheated on him. Like, they've been broken up for like, I don't even know, like almost a year. Like, everyone just needs to relax. Like,
unfortunately,
that's it at the end of the day.
No, I totally agree with you. Unfortunately, when you say it's not other people's business, when you are, as big of a star as she's gotten, and then you're linking up with another star at Barstool, it's going to become, public fodder. It's like, and I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I don't know where I fall on that. On the one hand, I believe everyone deserves like privacy and should get to have their own private life. On the other hand, it's like if you're gonna date somebody, it's like a celebrity couple being born. And I know that sounds silly, but within the Barstool world, the fans treat us like they. Some people don't know Barstool at all. The people who love Barstool treat us like we're fucking Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. So in some people's minds, it's Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie, and Jennifer Aniston right now. Like, it is a love triangle that they're like, holy shit, I got to call into the radio show about it. So on that level, you have to understand that if you, hook up with a coworker and get found out, that there will be people talking about it. But when you haven't done anything inherently wrong and all you're talking about, some people believe in some sort of certain code or unwritten rules, then those people are gonna have their opinions about you. I think that for the most part, most people should just be like, as long as nothing was done to harm anybody, like, of course there's always going to be hurt feelings in a breakup and when people move on and whatever. This might be, an extra wrinkle that makes things worse, but really nobody was trying to hurt anybody here, and that's, I think, what's kind of getting lost in the sauce.
Totally. That's all I wanted to say. So thank you.
You got it. Shit, I clicked something. Can you come back over here? I clicked it so I can't end up removing her. It really depends on where you fall on. Maybe you clicked the arrow down, maybe? I just clicked her name, and that's what made it go away. Oh, okay. Let's go to Lindsay. Let's get another girl in the mix because I want to hear the female opinions. Where do you? It all depends on where you fall on bro code. I would be like, as much as it would like hurt my feelings, maybe I'm the type of guy to be like, yo, you broke up with me. You handled it the right way. I would prefer you don't date somebody right next to me in my circle, but everybody, has their own feelings, and you can't help these things. And so you live your life, I'll live mine, and I'll figure it out and move on. I think I haven't seen Hank say anything. I doubt he will. I think he's going to take the high road. As I always say, like the high road is often extremely lonely, but I think you should always try to take it if you can. So I'm sure that's where he'll be, but also, it probably doesn't feel great. What do you think, Lindsay?
Hey, I don't know if is this like confirmed a relationship or a hookup, or is it just this one picture of the two of them? That was my one question, because as a girl who is like short, like 5'2", and Rhea seems pretty short, like obviously like they say you can't just be friends with your guy friends or whatever, but I've stood in that exact position with guy friends that I've never hooked up with before.
No, I think it's
Marty just confirmed it on his show.
Yeah, I think it's much. I think it's confirmed, and I think it's better. Like, it's more. Sorry, I'm just. I think it's better that way. I think like if it was a random fling, it's kind of like, well, then you really didn't have to do this. You guys could have just like hooked up with other people. But I think the more serious it is in a weird backwards way, as much as that might be hurtful, I think it's you at least you're doing it for the right reasons. You know what I mean? So that I think is probably a better thing.
Marty just broke it down on his show. He said it had been going on for a while and it had passed the point of fling, and they actually had called Hank and informed him.
So if you do it the right way,
and what Marty said was, Hank said, I have no problem with Marty, but I am upset with Rhea. Like,
right.
Just that.
And I mean, that makes sense, but also at the same time, it's like, you can be upset with somebody, but they like followed all the right protocol.
Yep.
Then, what can you do? Now, the question is, what does Franny Lydon think? I know what Hank thinks, but what does Franny Lydon think? Jonas, what do you got? Oh, still connecting. Boy, that took a long time. I let him in a while ago. It is funny that way back when burners like Hank was at the center of everything with burners. But that's the thing about the internet. You're around long enough, you're at the center of all this. The good, the bad, the ugly. You live long enough to become the villain. You come back around again as the hero. It is, if you can survive the internet, you eventually play every position on the diamond. Eventually you become one of those guys. It's like I've caught, I've pitched, I've played every spot, batted everywhere in the lineup, and I've seen it from every perspective. Jonas is not connecting, so maybe I will just boot him. Sorry, Jonas. Maybe you can try again. Let's go to Kenny. Kenny is joining, so we'll let his audio connect. So Deke, I think, has made an offer to Yeah, we were. I mean, he's probably okay. So Deke said he will talk to me and only me. I love this.
Will Sasquatch. Deke just called me and said if I don't wire him $50,000 in the next hour, he's going to hurt my family.
Bro, I'm telling you, as silly as that sounds, there are people out there who would take this shit that fucking seriously.
Can y'all hear me?
Wait, what do you say?
Can you hear me?
Woo! All right, so in case you didn't hear that, so Sasquatch, Lil Sass tweeted, if you don't send me, Deke sent me a message saying if you don't send me $50,000 right now, I'll hurt people in your family. And Deke said, not your family, but people in your circle. Yes. So start connecting the dots, Pepe Sylvia style. Kenny, what do you got?
Can you hear me?
Yes. What do you got?
Dude, I think Deke Zucker is full of shit. I don't know how the hell he can get all these names and all that stuff, because you can just make up a random ass email and create a random ass Reddit.
Oh yeah, that's what you should do.
Shit.
You would be very surprised how many people leave paper trails, because there's always some email that has to connect to some email. You got to make your burner email connect to some other email that's your real email, or you leave a phone number, or you would be surprised. IP addresses. Sometimes people can go deeper than. Huh?
No, you can't do. You don't need to do all of that. I have a Reddit account that's like not associated with you whatsoever.
No, I'm not saying you have to do it. I'm saying that you would be surprised how stupid people are. A lot of people think they're being slick enough, or they leave their computer open and logged in, or you would be shocked how much if you hate enough and there's enough burners out there and people are reading enough, you would be surprised the amount of people who can tell like certain ways that people talk and certain vocabulary that they use, or they say something that only you and one other person know. Like if I have a secret that I know for a fact nobody else knows except for this one person, and they post about it, that happens way more often than you think, because people who have burners are inclined to drop the nuke. They think they're completely anonymous, and they know they have some information. And especially, dude, I've dealt with this before where I have intentionally spread disinformation to smoke people out. I've made up false names. I've put out false stories, and then when I see it come around,
like
from
Kim
a certain
Jong-un when he had COVID.
Exactly, man. Exactly that. I'm Kim Jong spreading the COVID rumor. So, like, you, if you're smart, you'll never be found out. The problem is people are dumb. Yeah. Now, whether or not he has all that information and shit is obviously a different story.
I just don't believe him. It's far-fetched, and he said 70%. Producers, 30% content. It's like such a cop-out.
Well,
we all want to know that
I do
people talking shit about everybody else.
Yes, yeah, that does that puts a little bit of like a damper on it. But you also got to remember that like what do you consider a back end person right now? If Stephen Che had a burner and was trashing Big Cat, that technically falls under producer now, doesn't it? Now maybe a couple more days until he's officially a content person. Who knows? But in the world of Barstool, you start to blend the world of those two things, and all of a sudden you have producers that make a lot more waves. But Kenny, I'll tell you what he did say is that Deke said he will have some sort of conversation with me tonight. I don't think it will be. Hopefully it'll be like on the record. Maybe we'll do a whole conversation like this is Deke Zucker. We'll have like a blacked out silhouette of him. But
it's easy for me to do. Yeah, we can do that.
Deke, I think is he has told me he is a real like ride or die KFC radio to the death kind of guy. So I think he will talk to me about it. And I mean, I gotta have some sort of closure on this. It'll drive me fucking insane walking the hallways, just being like, which one of you motherfuckers? I'm just gonna have to go scorched earth and be like, all right, until right now, I'm treating all of you like you're all talking shit until I find out who actually did it. What's up, Tyler?
Hey, what's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah. What do you got?
I just wanted to comment on Rhea and Marty doing things the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Not really saying they did anything wrong. And I'm kind of a fringe fan. I listen to some podcasts. I follow all the Twitter accounts. But when Hank and Rhea broke up, and again, sorry, my dog is freaking out.
He wants the drama, man. He's like, who's on the list? Who's on the list?
He wants it. But and again, this could be completely wrong, but just from things I saw on Twitter and even on Reddit, Rhea, it sounded like Hank was ready to settle down, maybe even buy a house or propose. Who fucking knows? And Rhea was like, I didn't go to college. You were like my first serious boyfriend. I want to like go live life a little bit, which is completely fine. But then I think to just turn around and kind of date another coworker, I kind of see why Hank would be upset.
Yeah, I mean, if that was kind of why the breakup happened, and then, but also, they break up a little while ago, and if you go and you sow your wild oats for a little bit, and then, and then you meet somebody who, like, I don't know, maybe Rhea and Marty, they sit around and they argue about whether the ocean has walls, and they just fell in love. You just don't know.
And I'm not. Yeah, and I'm for sure not saying anybody did anything wrong or malicious or anything like that, but I can kind of see why Hank would be upset and why maybe there is such kind of a strong, hashtag Team Hank thing going on right now.
Yeah, I also think hashtag Team Hank is a lot more, I think, about the love for Henry Lockwood that he deserves and much less the hate for the other side. And I'm sure there are people who pick their sides truly like that, but it's more just like Hank is just one of the best dudes ever. He is just one of the best. Like, from a professional point of view, from a personal point of view, he has a story that is, like, second to none. At the end of the day, when he's worth, like, $1 zillion and at the top of this company as production or somewhere else or his own, like, Lockwood Productions LLC, and he started out as, the boy with no chin breaking into the Boston Garden with a butter knife and faking his way through film school and ripping tickets at the Museum of History or whatever, and then he becomes all of this. I mean, people love him. There's just nothing to hate about Hank. He's the guy, when you split a sandwich, he splits it vertically instead of horizontally. He's just he's the guy who said that wine has great hops. He's just the best, and that's why people love Hank, and that's why hashtag Team Hank was trending. I really don't think it's as much of an indictment of Rhea and Mush, because I think, Rhea's an OG as well. Marty is a great guy. I would say overall these are people who are loved, like, throughout the office. They're not really like the polarizing people. So, I mean, unfortunately, it's where things can get messy in the romance world. Let me take a couple more calls. I know people could probably talk about this all day long, but I got other shows to do, so we got to at least somewhat move on. But is this top to bottom who's been waiting the longest, or
no,
it's just random? Okay, so I was going to say I want to get the people who've been waiting the longest, but let's go to Kaylee. She'll be joining in a second. Let her connect. Marty is on his own show right now, so I'm sure he's talking about it. You can get things in his own words. I'm sure the Dave Portnoy show will have talk on this. It'll be going on, probably all week and forever. Yeah, this is going to be a big one. Kaylee. Let's go, Kaylee. What do you got?
Hi. I am calling in. By the way, big fan. I've listened to like every single episode of KFC Radio ever.
Thank you.
Never called in before, but I'm calling in now because honestly, this is really fucking pissing me off. Like, Rhea did absolutely nothing wrong. They've been broken up for a year, and I feel like you said, Barstool people are it's similar to a celebrity in that it's so normal to date people within your world, within your orbit that understand what's going on.
Yep.
And I just think that if Hank was dating someone else in the office, the reaction would be very different. And I like Hank too. Like, I think he's a great guy, like you were saying. It's such a good story, but it just, I don't know. The whole thing really rubs me the wrong way because I think that people are coming down on her super hard for and to be more mad at Rhea than Marty. Marty's your friend. I get you have some relationship there, but she owes you nothing.
Yeah, I know. And I think I tend to agree with you, actually. I mean, I think when people talk about the bro code, guy code, unwritten rules, it's kind of an unwritten rule for a reason because it's not actually a rule. It's it's a rule that you really hope it goes that way, right? You hope that you don't fall in love or have a spark with someone who is going to, hurt the ex or present problems or drama, but it's not a real rule because you can't really prevent that. And you're right that it is something like he knows what it's like to be a Barstool blogger and to be on the road touring and to go through all this shit that we go through. And so it actually makes more sense that you would end up linking up with someone here. Now, I definitely think you're right. If Hank was hooking up with another girl in the office, I think it would be a much more of a stereotypical girl fight. I think.
Well, and also I feel like if Rhea was not that I think Hank hasn't come out and said anything as I know, but if all these people were coming out and being like Team Rhea, going after this girl, she would be perceived as very catty and why do you even care? You guys broke up.
She's in an impossible spot, to be honest. It sucks.
Exactly. She really is.
And I know Rhea well. She's my girl. I've talked to her a million times, me and her privately, because me and her actually have, I think, a lot of similarities in the way that we have to handle the internet. I think in the internet world, there are haves and there are have-nots. There are people who the internet love and there are the people that the internet seem to like kind of go after or not like or whatever. I think having an opinion and being strong about it often polarizes a lot of people. I think sometimes being from New York and talking the way we talk polarizes people. And I think there's been a lot of times where both of us have been kind of, we have to deal with a lot of the hate. And I've had a lot of conversations with her about that, trying to persevere through that and push through that. And I'll be honest, you reach a point where you do say, like, you know what? I don't give a fuck because you guys give me shit for literally everything I do. So I'm going to live my life and I'm going to be happy. And I don't give a fuck about what these strangers think about. The only thing I care about is Hank and is the people here. And I'm going to call up and I'm going to do things the right way. And is it great? Do I wish it to be this way? No. But do I owe you, him, her, everybody else anything? No, I fucking don't. Now, Viva La Stool tweeted a video of Marty talking about it. Hank quote tweeted it and said, I told Rhea a month ago.
Oh.
Yeah, this is straight from the Twitter streets 1 minute ago. I told Rhea a month ago that my issue was pretty much entirely with her and what I felt were disrespectful actions towards me after dating for 4 years, but that I have zero problem talking to Marty. He never reached out until yesterday morning. Now, that was probably not the move either. And I know as a guy myself, and fights, and I can attest to this, and we've talked about it on KFC Radio a bunch. I never like to shoot myself in the foot if I don't have to, and I don't want to like go through confrontation if I don't have to. In this case, I think that's a situation where you have to. I think that if Rhea called up and had a discussion, I think the next move, because that's first and foremost, right? They're the ones that have history. They got to talk it out. Then I think you do have to have a conversation after that. Now, if Marty was like, I don't know enough about those two together. If Marty was like, I'm not really friends with Hank, and like I don't know him, and I don't really care, then whatever. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. I think that there probably should have been a connection made there that's sort of along the lines of like, dude, I mean, I've done this with people here, just like with hooking up. Like sometimes I think it's a good idea to put that out there. Like I've had situations where I'm not even talking about relationships, just like, hey, I heard you once went out with this girl or hooked up with this girl, and like she's over here in my DMs. If that were to happen, like, is that cool? Is that is that gonna be a problem? Is that gonna be a mess? Not only just to like ask for permission, but just to like have that conversation to be like, is this, how do you feel? What's going to happen? Can we do this way, that way, the other way? I think that you have to have conversations like that. I mean, again, I did it for people that I have no
to head it off at
loyalty
the
to.
pass,
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, right. To cover
And
your
just,
own
like,
ass,
to
to head it off at the
avoid.
pass, for multiple reasons, just to be like, I did everything right, and now, there's certain things that people are going to hate no matter what, but I did everything right. At least you can rest your head saying that. But
No, I totally agree, and I have to go because I am whispering in the
get
hallway
it, girl.
of my job.
Go back to work, girl.
But
have a
I
good
have to
one.
go to work, but I just wanted to come on and defend Rhea because
Yeah.
I love her. So have a good day.
And I think Rhea deserves some of that love and support too, because it's a shitty spot to be. That's for sure. Let me go to Gabe because I know Gabe is a fan of mine, and then we'll wrap it up. So last call here before we wrap up. I will try to talk to Deke Zucker privately, personally, whatever, and I will try to get. I'm not going to out it. I'm going to say right now, just so people know, if I know, unless there is a overwhelming, glaring reason to out somebody, I would never mention a name publicly because I am not about ruining people's jobs or careers. At the end of the day, we're talking about like who's hooking up with who, and like this is all just like high school drama. The fact that Marty had to move his seat is straight out of like Mean Girls at the cafeteria. What we're doing here is all very childish and salacious and shit. So I will never I'm not gonna say anything that would jeopardize somebody's career, but I want to know names just for my own self and for the people I know and love here, that it's like, all right, well, we're gonna avoid that person, we're never gonna work with that person, don't ever tell anything to that person. My list is like the KFC Radio gang, Clem, Robbie, Trent, Frankie, Rudy, and like that's where it stops. That's it. That's my inner circle. I'm sure there's other people that I like know and love and trust, but they're the only people I can know for a fact would never wrong me. So other than that, everybody could be out there, but I'll see what I can get to the bottom with Deke Zucker. But what do you got, Gabe?
Yo, this is like 2017 for me. I was driving a lot then, so I got in the car. Kevin, I got in the car today and just drove around with your YouTube playing. I was like,
straight
yo,
Barstool Radio, baby.
Get me in the time machine, turn me back, and like I'll just push all my meetings to like the middle of the day to get this over. Like I need I am not like I have no dog in this fight.
No,
literally
right,
none. Just give me the shit.
Yep.
Like just
That's what I'm
empty.
saying. Everybody who's ever like, why do you care about their sex tape? Why do you care about who's dating who? Why do you care? Blah, blah, blah. You care too. It just happens to be which people you care about. Because at the end of the day, this is what everybody loves the tea. And we're programmed this way to want the drama. So what do you got on the whole matter?
Dude, Kevin, nothing.
Yeah, you're like you said, you're just here to listen, right?
Yeah, I'm like, I kind of, I go back and forth with, and I'll say it's like you've said, it's not a fireable offense. Like this is just, you probably shouldn't shit where you eat and shit happens.
Mm-hmm.
And now you just you made your bed and you got to sleep in it and figure out how to like navigate through the waters.
That's honestly it. That's it. I mean, I keep referencing myself, but that's exactly like what happened with me. And thanks we're going to wrap it up here, Gabe. So we ended on a solid note there because I think Gabe's exactly right. I think at the end of the day, like, nobody's dead, nobody's fired, nobody's been harmed in a drastic way, and I think that's what people need to remember is, like, we're talking about, like, broken hearts and egos and shit like that. We're talking about, inter-office relationships that happen, and they go wrong, and they blow up, and sometimes they thrive, and that's how the fucking world works. We're not the first people to do that. We're not the last people to do that. And I would just say, much like the girl who posted the picture in the Chicks in the Office Reddit without thinking about what this is going to lead to, before you go tweeting hashtag Team Hank and before you hate on Marty or talk shit about Rhea or make fun of Hank or whatever you're going to do on it, it is people's lives. It is, at the end of the day, like, I don't want to say silly because it does involve people's emotions and feelings, and you don't want to like minimize what they're going through. But there's worse things going on in the world. There's more important stuff, and I think the more that everyone can just respect people's privacy and just say, stay out of it and don't, the people with like fucking, I'm sure there's death threats and more talk about people outing, this and that and the other thing. Just remember how much your actions on the internet fucking harm people, and don't be a dirtbag at the end of the day. That's the message. Don't be a dirtbag. We're all just dirtbags trying to get some drama and get through our day, but don't be a dirtball that harms other people. So, emergency episode of KFC Radio, emergency episode of Barstool Radio in the books. If you want to go over to watch Mush the Line, I'm sure he's still going, and like I said, Dave's going to have his opinion, and as Feidelberg said, it's Barstool Sports. We will beat this to death. So everybody, just remember today, everybody who's like, oh, I need Barstool Radio, I got to call in. By 4 p.m. today, you're going to be like, oh, Barstool loves Barstool. All you guys do is talk about each other. Just remember, you guys wanted this. You fucking, Deke opened Pandora's box, but you guys fucking pushed it open. And so when we're on week 3 of talking about it, just know that you wanted this. You can't leave now. Make sure you subscribe. Did this emergency shit just to get people to our YouTube, so please subscribe. We got a lot of good videos coming out from KFC Radio, shorts, long-form episodes, interviews, all of our content, our vlogs, weekly vlogs by Pavs every Saturday. So a lot of good content here on the KFC Radio YouTube. Make sure you subscribe before you leave. If you're already watching, all you got to do is click. So do me that solid, and we'll see where the great the burner list ends up at the end of the day. Will Barstool survive? I think it's a nuclear bomb that could have fallout that makes this company crumble. God bless you. But we'll see where we end up, and we'll catch you guys. Make sure you tune into KFC Radio tomorrow. We'll be more on the topic. See you guys.